Hello everybody, good evening. It is Tuesday the 28th of November and hopefully I am live on my All Sewn Up page, the fan page, and also on the Dressmaking the Easy Guide Facebook group. So I'm just going to check those as we usually do. So if you are there and if you're watching, say hello so I know that everything's working. Would be really good. I'm going to refresh my screens. Let me just see. Right, it looks like I am live on the page. And hopefully, yay! Fantastic. Okay, right. Let's get all of this up live. Okay, so if you are watching, say hello, the usual, say hello, let me know who you are, where you're from, where you're watching this Facebook Live at the moment. Really nice to know where everyone is this evening. So I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chats as well. We got, oh, I need glasses, I can't see from here. We've got Deborah, Sandra, hello. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes for everyone just to tune in, refresh their pages, and hopefully join the Facebook Live. Oh, lovely, lots of you there. Hello. Oh, hello, Sarah, Fran, Jackie, Liz, Linda. Hello. Guernsey, Essex. See, you're all over the place again. It's lovely. I have a list. I have an organised list today of what I need to do because some of you may have known that I was on Sewing Street this morning at 8 o'clock in Birmingham. So 12 hours later, I'm now doing a Facebook Live back in Swansea. So it's been a little bit of a long day. My voice has gone a little bit husky. I think it's reaching that end of the year now where I am starting to break a little bit. I'm looking forward to a nice rest over Christmas. So if those of you who are new joining, hello, I'll give you a little introduction in a sec. Let me just see who else has joined. We've got Gemma, Forest of Dean, Sandra, hello, Cheshire, Trudy, in Stratton North End. Oh, lots of you. Hello. So I'm glad it's all working. I'm going to just triple check that one. Yeah, that's all working, which is good. Fantastic. Oh gosh, see, that's the thing, I get double the amount of comments now as well. So I've got people on the page as well. So hello if you're watching on the page. Lovely to see you. I will do the usual little introduction for those of you that are new, because every single week there is just a huge amount of new members to the Facebook group. If you are watching from the Facebook page and you haven't joined the group yet, you just need to search Dressmaking the Easy Guide and there's a private group you can join, which is brilliant. And I'm going to show you a little bit from the group this evening as well. But if you're totally new and wondering what on earth this is all about, this is about this fabulous book, Dressmaking the Easy Guide. And this is my dressmaking book that came out in June, and it has changed the face of dressmaking, I think I can safely say at the moment, because it is allowing people to make clothes that fit their unique body, which is something that a lot of people haven't been able to access until now, is being able to understand how you make clothes that fit, rather than trying to fit into garments that don't work for you. So there's lots there. Hope you recover from Sewing Street. Oh, lots. So hopefully, I know there was a technical glitch on Sewing Street this morning. So I know that if you were watching on, I think, Sewing Street website and YouTube, I think it crashed. So I'm just going to chase up if they're going to upload the full demonstration on YouTube so I can share that with everybody. But on Sewing Street this morning, I was really giving you a heads up of how the book works. So if you are new to this, it would be a really nice one for you to watch to really understand from the basics when you pick the book up how it works as a reader. Now, what I tend to do in these Facebook Lives, I'm on for an hour and I talk through quite a few things on here on my list, which is just covering some little just ways of helping you and showing you what's around. So I'll work my way through that, giving you updates on what I've been doing and what's to come as well. So it's been a particularly busy month. So I'm seeing, oh, sunny, I love it. Wendy's always watching from sunny Spain. Hello, Wendy. Oh, hello, everybody. Oh, brilliant. Okay, so basically, hello and welcome. My name is Helen Rhiannon. I've written this book, Dressmaking the Easy Guide. I've been designing and teaching for, well, nearly 20 years. It's 20 years next year. So I have been doing this quite a long time. So even if some of you have only just come across me now, I have been a bespoke bridal wear designer for the past, gosh, 12, 13 years, and a bespoke, I say bespoke designer before then, and have created a whole host of garments over the years. And something that I really specialise in is the fit, and also having clothes flatter your body. And a woman's body is just, I love the curves in all the right places, and it's understanding how to actually fit those curves and to make everything work for you and your body. I've also taught sewing workshops for, again, 15 plus years. And the book has come from a combination of both, really. The frustration of people coming to my workshops and bring in commercial patterns that will not fit, and you won't know how they fit until they're made up. But of course you cut into your fabric, and it is always a gamble of how well it's going to fit. So for me, it's managing people's expectations and really the frustration over the years of just being put in that position as a teacher, and people being disappointed when things don't fit. Also then as a designer, blending those two skills of having the knowledge of what to do, but trying to put it in a way that it's easy to read. So this is what this book is all about. So if you haven't got the book yet, just watch and catch up with all of these videos. You can find me on my All Sewn Up Wales page, where you click on videos and there's lots of videos under there. They're all being added now onto YouTube as well, which is also All Sewn Up Wales. And within the private group there is, so this is where it gets a little bit fancy. So this is the Dressmaking the Easy Guide group. There's currently 10.8 thousand members, so it's absolutely grown in 5 months. It's phenomenal. But if you see what's highlighted there is featured. So if you look at featured on the Dressmaking the Easy Guide, then any important posts, any useful posts are all pinned to the top, really, so you can scroll through. They're not necessarily in order, which is why my Facebook page is useful, YouTube, and my website's being updated as we speak. But it's all there. You've got lots and lots of help for you, basically, to be able to succeed in your dressmaking journey. And that's what this is all about, really. This is about me helping the likes of yourselves achieve something that is totally achievable when you know how. So, I'm just going to hold the Isle of Wight. Okay, there's lots of people having little chats there. So it's really difficult to kind of see chat. So I do try and have a little look. Oh, they did load the full demo of Sewing Street. Fantastic. Thank you for that, Joanne. I'll have a little look at that, and I will share that on the group as well, which is really good. So again, so those of you that are new, look for a little post after this video is finished tonight, and I will share that link for you to look through. So as I said, Sewing Street this morning it was lovely. I haven't had much time to go on since the book came out, because the book came out in June and was launched on Sewing Street, and it sold out 4 times over, which was amazing. And this is I think I've been back once since the book came out, and then since then it's just been really difficult to try and actually get there as well. But it was really good, and I always love going on, and Stuart Hillard was on, who you might have recognised from the very first series of the Sewing Bee. So he is doing really well for himself. He's lovely, really nice. So it was lovely to go up and see everybody up there. What else have I got on my lovely list? So featured I've just told you about. So in the Dressmaking the Easy Guide Facebook group, you will find the videos under there, and I will be adding as much as possible to YouTube. Now, I couldn't put this video live to YouTube this evening, so each week, well, each time I do a Facebook Live, which is I try and do twice a month, there's always something new I'm trying to learn and trying to fit in, so bear with me. YouTube will just be uploaded afterwards with this, which is great. Next thing to mention is at the start of November, I went up to the NEC to the Creative Craft Show for 4 days, and it was absolutely fantastic. So thank you everybody who came along to say hello. There were lots of you that came just to introduce yourselves. Quite a few of you turned up in your dresses. Some of you even turned up in your toiles, which, well, obviously got dressed into your toiles. And so I gave some of you advice on the fit. And it was just really nice to put lots of names to faces, but just to see how much the book has changed so many of your lives in the terms of dressmaking and wearing clothes that fit. And I think it really took me aback how how much this has positively affected people. And there was one lady that came up and cried and said she'd never been able to make things that fit. And that blew me away, really. And it just makes me realise how lucky I am to be in a position to kind of share these skills on a level that you can all understand and get involved. And I genuinely absolutely love sharing this knowledge with you all, because usually it's something you'd have to sign up to a degree or a long evening course, or even then you probably wouldn't, you just scratch the surface. So this is allowing you to pretty much do like a degree in a book. So this is why I think it's been so popular. I do have lots of copies. Finally, for the first time since the book came out in June, I finally have stock of the book. So if you order the book, I will send it out within 3 days, pretty much the same day if I can, which is just brilliant. So please help me get my living room back, because I have boxes of books. So I will put a link in here afterwards for you too. If you do want to order the book, it's $19.99. It's a signed copy. You get a free, I don't know where it is, I've got one here, let me grab one. So you also get a free Dressmaking Easy Guide, Setting Up Your Sewing Machine booklet. So if you are totally new to sewing, this book is for you. If you are further down the line, the book is still also for you. But it's just a recap on lots of basic skills, but the dressmaking should be new for most of you. So there was one thing I have asked you all on here, and again I'm going to have a look at comments in a sec. I did post a, sorry, my brain is very tired today. I did post a photo on my social media this week, because I'm going to the Sew for Pleasure NEC event in March. I think it's the 14th to the 17th of March. I would absolutely love to have a catwalk slot, which is something I used to do all the time. So I used to arrange catwalk shows, and especially the bridal side, and just working within fashion. It's something I can do with my eyes shut. And I absolutely love the idea of having you, all of you lovely, fabulous people, in your self-drafted dresses, tops, skirts on the catwalk. All you need to do is turn up looking gorgeous, which you would be because you have something that fits you beautifully, and I will help you walk through. It'd be very informal, it will be a lot of fun. It wouldn't be one of those massive catwalks. So if you have been to the NEC or any of those events, it's maybe a metre off the ground, and even if that, I don't know, but it won't be huge, but it will be really lovely. So if you are interested in being one of my models, I would absolutely love that. So please get in touch via email. It's probably the best way, and I need to speak to the organiser about it. So I'll do another post in a couple of days, and you can all email me if you're interested. And if you've made more than one outfit, then we'll just change you in the background. You can be like a professional model and actually have changes, which would be brilliant. So let me have a little look what everybody is saying on here as well. That's lovely, Julie. Thank you for taking the time to create a book for people that are size 20 plus. That was a massive part of the research, was everybody was saying that they felt they were left out with sizing, and the book goes from size 6 to 44 UK, but there is no reference to sizing in the book. The size chart is a unique bespoke size chart, which is purely based on measurements. So it means you're not drawn to picking a size that isn't right for you, and maybe what you want to be or what you think you should be, that goes out the window. So this book is all about measuring yourself properly, adding wearing ease, and actually working with the patterns to make them fit you. So I'm obviously thrilled that people are actually now being able to make clothes that fit whatever size you are. So it's fully inclusive. I'm 5'11". I'm very awkward shape. 5'11". I've got waist, I've got hips, I've got bum, I've got all now since I've had my child. It's all come. And I've got all lumps and bumps. And I was off the chart already before I had my son, being the size I am. I'm tall, I'm larger framed, and I was as frustrated as all of you. So if you were anything over a 16, you're pretty much left out. So this book is 100% inclusive for you all. Something I should say again, if you are new to the book, if you are working through the book and you're thinking, I don't want to make something tight and straight, and obviously all the calico toiles are that is just a reference of your body. You don't need to make a straight dress. you can use that as a reference point for making sure your darts are in the right place and your bust points, your waist, your hips, and that then allows you to then create whatever you want from that. So it can be a top, a skirt, it can be a loose A-line, long, floaty dress. It doesn't need to have any waist at all. But what it gives you is the fit for the parts of the body that's usually quite difficult to get. So, so in case you are wondering, you don't have to make something straight. This gives you the tools to make absolutely anything you want. Okay, what else have we got? Oh, the dogs are watching. Oh, that's nice. Sweden. Oh, hello, Val in Sweden. Sorry I can't be on screen while doing this. I just can't see. And I definitely need some glasses so I can read further away. Have we got Buenos such as Tracy? Hi from Worthing. And just having a quick look. It's hard to see on the Facebook page. Oh, lovely, Sue. Nikki and Sue will be there on the catwalk. Fantastic. Yeah, it would be busy for Sarah. Sarah, who everybody knows, you'll see Sarah in a minute again because she's just whipped out another few gorgeous outfits. Sarah will be doing costume changes between every person, I think, in the background, Sarah. So no pressure, but you have to come with your whole wardrobe. You'll have to come on a bus. Always have trouble fitting sleeves. Yes, sleeves are something I talked about in the last Facebook Live. So if you go to YouTube or my fan page, you'll be able to see the one on sleeves in there. What else is on there? Oh, lovely. Hello, Julie in Australia. Oh, that's nice. I remember sending your book out, which was lovely. Okay, so what else am I saying on here? So I'm going to just show you a couple of photos. Actually, I was going to show you the NEC video. So I'm just going to show you, this is what happened at the NEC. So as well as running, I've been on the stand, I also did some workshops, and I will be doing the same thing in Sewing for Pleasure. So I will hopefully have a couple. So I'm just going to play this little video to you. And this was... So that was the NEC, and it was fantastic. As I said, there were some zip masterclasses, there were some sizing and pattern, like a pattern cutting masterclass, and I just love doing them. Love having my Madonna mic on, and it makes me laugh because I've got no shame at all. And I think when obviously my job is to talk about bodies and the fit. So if those of you came along to any of those sessions, and you would have known full well that I had my mic on and I was mainly talking boobs and measuring your boobs and how different position boobs are on everyone, and all you could see was just men going past, just what's going on. So it was a lot of fun, so I thoroughly enjoyed that. So there'll be more of that in Sewing for Pleasure in March. And I'll have like a discount code and things as well. And then all of you, if you do want to be on the catwalk, you have free entry to the show, so watch your space. Okay, someone's asking, are we able to use stretch fabrics? Yes, I would start with woven because you want everything to fit you well first, and then you can progress onto different types of fabric. So you can use viscose, you can use stretch, but you would need to maybe think about making it more snug when it's stretch than being a really fitted, than being a little bit looser. But yes, you definitely can, but I'd always start in woven first of all. Okay, what else? That's what I was going to tell you next. So as well as obviously these events, I'm just going to show you some photos here. I haven't picked as many out as normal because I'm mindful these are going further afield, these videos now, but I know that these ladies gave me permission to use these. Now, the amazing thing about Dressmaking the Easy Guide group, the actual Facebook group, is that there are hundreds of you meeting up for sessions all around the country and the world, because I'm sure there were some ladies in Australia, and helping each other with the book, which absolutely blows my mind. Just how amazing is that? And there's just groups who are, I just love it. So there's so many of you at Meeting Up, and I love that so many of you now have also got just names for your groups, and you're all just meeting up for tea or coffee or hiring community centres. I could never have planned that, and that is probably something I'm probably the most proud of, because it's just forming new friendships and I love it. So thank you for all being so fantastic. If you are in the Facebook group, you can look under events, and those who are planning and organising meetups tend to put them in events. So have a look under events to see if there's something near you. You can also have a look in the chats, but bear in mind, if you click on a chat, you join the chat automatically. So you can leave chats, you can mute chats. Okay, so if you find your phone is pinging continuously, find someone who knows how to use Facebook and ask them to mute your chats. But then you can just dip in and see who's around in your area and hopefully find someone who can help you work on your toile, or just go out for tea and cake. It's just amazing. So please do keep me posted. And if you are meeting up in groups, when you share your photos, I'll usually say, can I use them and share them? Because I think it's brilliant for everyone to see. So that's fantastic. Let me just see what else is going on. Oh, that's brilliant. I love that. My husband calls you the Delia of sewing. I love that. That's so nice. Oh, thank you, Caroline. Thank you to your husband. Oh, that's brilliant. And Sarah, so I've shared their Hay Sewing, Hull and East Yorkshire. Oh, that's so good. So clever. I hadn't even noticed that. Amazing. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, next thing on my list, because I usually spend the first half hour blabbing about everything, and then the second half hour then is the demonstration. So the other thing to show you guys is something that I'm going to cover today, which is all about fitting your toile. And it's all in the book. So it is all in the book, but obviously for some people it's easier to see videos and demonstrations. And again, those of you that are new, the book came out in June and I've been pedaling very fast underwater trying to keep up with everything, and how this book has just boomed and just gone everywhere. And it's fourth reprint in January, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm trying to work quite hard in the background to kind of keep up with everything. So there are lots of videos coming. I've got a fabulous studio being built finally after years and years and years of going through hassle, and that will have a purpose-built area for filming. So proper filming will happen from then, when it's ready at the start of next year, which is super exciting. But until then, what I try and do is try and film when I can. So I did a fast motion, it's about a minute long, and this was in Ash Farm. So the courses that I run, I have some local to me in Three Crosses, which are some 8-week courses. There's one basic one, which is 8 weeks. There's 2 advanced courses for 8 weeks. So if you've got to the toile stage and you've perfected that and made a first dress, then that will help you go further. So there is a few spots on those. The intensive weekends are where you get to the toile stage and you have a bespoke fitting from myself to make sure that that pattern fits you pretty much as perfect as we can get it. But they are all sold out. There's one a month until June and they're sold out, which is incredible. And then the Ash Farm courses, which are the quite high-end luxury ones, because the venue is phenomenal, the food is phenomenal, just everything's amazing, and there's less people. And I do quite a lot of work around you being there to help you finish that dress in 3 days. But again, they're all full. But there are some new dates we penciled in that will be coming out. I will post an information post maybe tomorrow and tag everyone in, where you can sign up to Sian's newsletter. And Sian is the fantastic person who runs Ash Farm. She's super multi-talented, a super nice person. She is a knitwear designer. She's got alpacas. She uses their yarn everything she makes is from just from the alpacas. She is an incredible chef, and she does all her food is vegan and vegetarian because she's found it easier just to cater for that. But I can't explain how good this food is. Like, even if you're not vegan, it's phenomenal food. So there will be some new dates coming soon. So you can sign up to Sian's newsletter to access those. You can also contact myself and I'll add you on a waiting list that I can just send out when we know dates. So bear with me on that. But I'm just going to show you this video. This is the video of the fittings of the 4 ladies that have thankfully let me share their video. And just have a little look and just look closely at the fact that it's the same thing that's happening each time, the same things I mentioned in the book, which is lifting the shoulders, taking in the side seams, checking your centre front, checking your bust darts, checking the position of your waist, and checking that your shoulder's in the right place. So have a little look and you'll see it's the same thing that happens each one. And then I'm going to talk about the demonstration next. I'm going to play this little one for you now. Okay, so thank you to Gina, Sue, Marie and Lauren for allowing me to share that video. But you will, I know it's super fast and I know it's difficult to alter yourself, but I'm going to talk through that in a sec as well of how to do that if you're altering to toile for yourself. What we're going to do is I'm just going to show you I'm going to show you the photographs of the 4 ladies in their finished dresses at Ash Farm. So Marie's on the left. She made a fabulous denim dress, which was one of my favourites. Boat neck, slight puff to the sleeve, gathered skirt, knee length, just really flattering, really stylish, very kind of Audrey Hepburn. Then Sue made a beautiful light cotton dress with a V-neck. She had a nice little flare to her sleeve and she did the A-line skirt with box pleats, just not in the centre, either side, which was gorgeous. You have Gina, who made a fabulous, she just wanted a 50s style dress. So Gina's got a sweetheart neckline, some really beautiful big puff sleeves, which I'll show you in a sec, a bit closer up, and a fabulous circle skirt, so a really full circle skirt, so she can wear an underskirt under that. And then the gorgeous Lauren, look how proud of her sleeve. I just love the sleeve. So a really lovely big flared sleeve that drops beautifully in that lovely soft fabric with a circle skirt and a V-neck, and each of them, the dresses fitted them beautifully. So I'm going to show you. So that's me with them all as well. I need to prepare everyone for shoes next time, we've decided, but we had a bit of a giggle over this one. Someone else with a residential. There is one room available at Ash Farm, but it is in Pembrokeshire, so there's lots of Airbnbs and really fabulous places 10 minutes from Saundersfoot Beach, which is one of my favourite places. But again, there's lots more information I can share with you on those. This is beautiful Marie. I just love that. I want to make that dress in denim with pockets. I love it. Beautiful Sue. Love it. Just really flattering and look fabulous on her. And then we have beautiful Lauren. Just the fit. It just looks, it doesn't have to be super tight. It just flatters, and that's what the book is all about. But the sleeve is, I love it. Absolutely love it. Then we've got the amazing Gina, who is so much fun. Sorry, Gina, I think I put the one with your eyes shut. Very sorry. But Gina is an absolute scream, and she will be on the catwalk if I can get her on the catwalk. This is dress number 1 at Ash Farm. This is dress number 2 that she made when she went home. And oh, I just love it. And then this is dress number 3 that she's made, the straight version. And Gina was adamant she'd never ever wear a straight dress. And it's because she's never found anything that fits, or you're forced to wear stretch. So Gina, I just love that she's made this beautiful dress that just totally flatters her figure and cap sleeves. And then she's gone wild and she's becoming the new Sarah. She has made a beautiful top as well in denim with the sleeves and just more like a peplum, and I just love it. So Well done, Gina, for fully just going with that. It's brilliant. And then we all know Sarah. Now, Sarah, you have to come and be on my catwalk. You have to. So these are Sarah's latest makes, I think. So a beautiful wrap over dress. So it just goes to show that you can take your blocks so far. Every designer starts with a block, and this is what you have in the book for £19.99, which is like, I'm not giving you a sales pitch, but as in, I wish I couldn't have bought those blocks when I was designing, and I wish I'd done it years ago, so it would have made my life easier. So Sarah is just acing it, showing everyone what you can do. So had a good pattern marching on that centre front there as well. Very impressive. I love this one as well. Oh, Sarah, you're just awesome. I love it. I can't remember who posted this top, but I absolutely love that top. It's just amazing. How cool is that? Just the waist darts have not been sewn in, and it just is a little bit looser, and a fabulous peplum. Nikki has taken hers even further, and she's now made a pinafore dress, which I'm itching to make. I've got December is my sewing month, so I cannot wait to get creating, because you've all inspired me. This is Linda in another dress. She went for a slightly looser fit on this one, for that comfortable fit. But she's got the blocks to go for the tighter fit as well, which she said she preferred. But absolutely love this, super flattering. Love the sleeves as well, little flick on the sleeves. And then look at this top. So just goes to show you, and that, if you imagine you just lengthened that down to the floor, you've got a really floaty garment. So just think, it doesn't have to be tight fitted. I love those little cuffs, which are beautiful. So there's 3 different tops there. So once you get your pattern right, you can run and run and run. Then we have, love this one. Just love that, and lovely dog featured as well. Such a cool dress. Absolutely love it. And then we have Fran, who made this week. Look at that fabric. Isn't it amazing? A beautiful little what's the word, like a little pleat on the lower part of the sleeve to give that puff, which is awesome. Gathered skirt V-neck. And then Fran's made another one in that time, which she posted today. So I hope you don't mind me sharing this with Fran as well. So in a, oh gosh, can't remember. I can't remember, needle cord, like really lightweight anyway. So that's the back. Looks really flattering. And look at that cuff. How amazing is that? So what you'll see is that you can start to look at other people's clothes and see how that all works. So that's really cool. And I can't remember the name of this lovely lady, but she's made a wedding dress. So she's actually used the blocks to make a wedding dress, and hopefully we'll see that on the person, because obviously a wedding dress always looks beautiful when it's filled out as well, especially when you're using lace. So that is phenomenal. So just a huge well. What have I done? Can you still hear me? I think I just muted myself. Right, let me just go back here. Okay, so I'm hoping you can still hear me. Fingers crossed. Lovely picture in the background. Oh, I love, Sue, that you said you're discussing this with the Thrifty Stitcher. That's something I'm really keen to have a chat with. It's just been so busy. So I'm hoping to catch up super soon. So yes, I'm hoping you can still hear me. Fingers crossed. Yeah, Sarah could do a solo fashion show with all her creations. Absolutely. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Julie. You can still hear me. Fab. So, all I'm going to say next is I did a YouTube video, well, not a YouTube video. I did a Facebook live video on the 20th of July on this as well. So even though I'm going to go quite quickly through the fitting, you can actually watch that back on the 20th of July. If you look at my All Sewn Up Wales fan page under videos, and you can scroll down, and I'm trying to find a way of getting those onto YouTube because they're just Facebook videos. But you can watch this back as well, which is quite a useful one. So now we are going to do a just under half hour demonstration, all about your fit. Okay, so I'm going to show you. We will do oh gosh, no, I won't do a split screen. I'm just going to show you where in the book we're looking at. So if you imagine, we have got to the point where you would have taken your measurements, you would have blended between sizes, which I've talked about in the last few Facebook Lives. You would have corrected, maybe moved your darts, lowered your darts if you needed to for your bust line, but you still don't know if it's going to fit you very well, and the chances are you need to do these alterations. So in the book, I'm just going to show you where we are. So I'm going to flick down to the page here. So in the book, we've actually got on page 74, altering your sample. And this is what we're going to look at now. So there are 5 steps, or there's 6 steps. 6 steps within here that I mainly talk about within the book. And I'm going to talk through that very quickly now. Now, bearing in mind, this was the sample that I actually did use. I'm going to show you in a sec. Now, the sample that I used in the book. So it's not the most loose fitting. Trying to move that way. But I will show you what I did on those little alterations. Will the book help make a dress without joining the waist? Yes, absolutely. 100%. You just join your pattern pieces together, Stacey, so that's all good. And looking forward to getting started. Lovely. Excellent. Okay, right. So, pins. So what I'm going to show you first is when you have your sample on you, if you're doing it yourself, then it's always worth just maybe pinching it in, taking it off, maybe tacking it or pinning it and putting it back on. So it will take longer, but you can still do it. I appreciate it's difficult to actually pin yourself, but you know, when there's a way to do it, you'll find a way, because it is such a worthy process. Or see if someone's local to you so that you can actually meet up and have someone to help you, which is the best thing. Join a sewing class, see if you can take the book with you to a sewing class, and hopefully the teacher will be thrilled to bits, because I would be if it had been me all those years back. So always ask them first. Now then, the very first thing I tend to do on the fits, and this is through doing it over time with the courses, is the first thing I always like to do is to lift the shoulders. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to try this bit of moving this around here for a minute. So the first thing I would do is actually lift the shoulders here, because I find that is what will take away any gaping that's going on the front here. So I've actually drawn on this already, so I'm just going to pin where I previously had drawn on when the book was being created over 4 years ago, which is crazy. So what you would do is treat both shoulders the same, unless you do have a real difference between your shoulders. And what I tend to say to people is that if there isn't a huge difference, and maybe you just one shoulder's a little bit lower because maybe you just wear your handbag on that one side, then I'd still work on a half. So you've got all the pieces which are a half, so that when you cut them out, you cut 2, and that obviously makes your whole dress. If you do have a bit more, when you've done that bit, maybe when you're sewing and you get to the shoulders, you can sew one shoulder with your 1 centimetre, or whichever seam allowance you've added, and the other shoulder then you can always sew a little bit more, so that will balance you out. But if there's a significant difference, I would actually trace off a left and a right side of your block. So you just mirror your actual block out, so that you treat it as left and right, so then you can actually balance yourself out at the pattern stage. Hopefully that makes sense. So just put some pins through on the shoulders. If you imagine your shoulders are all, keep getting my finger this way, let me move over this way. So your shoulders are straight, your shoulders hopefully are quite symmetrical. So you want to try and get an even distance off both sides, fingers crossed. Have a look on here. Can you use an adjuster form instead? You can use whatever, yep. If you've got a mannequin that you can pad out to fit you. So I was hoping to talk a little bit about the mannequin I had at the show, but we're still just finalising a few details. But I had a body scan, which I will talk to you in another one. But you can pad yourself out with a bin bag, put a bin bag on, duct tape yourself, and actually then you create a mould of your body that you can then put onto a mannequin, pad out, and that's the nearest you can get to your body. So that's quite a good one. YouTube it. Someone has posted it in the group before now. Okay, so the next thing I do, once I've lifted the shoulders, the next thing I always look at is under the arm. So a lot of people forget this bit under the arm, and they might not realise that bit actually might be quite gapy. Okay, so I always would go into the arm, and I would always take a little bit out from under there. So you make this as fitted as you want it. So this is quite a kind of quick demonstration seam, so I want to show you mainly, once you do this part, how to transfer these onto your patterns, which is the most important thing we want to get out of this evening. Okay, because you can Also, to bear in mind, you put your sample on inside out because it's much easier to pin your seams this way round and you can see your seams. Whereas if you put it the right way around, it's a little bit harder to do all the alterations on. So when you actually fit your side seams, for this I've actually taken in under the arm, I've also taken in, so I've gone down here and I've taken a little bit, continued down the waist and then just balanced it out at the hips. But you can also just go all the way down if you want as well. So that's one of the second alterations. Squeaky wheels this one this evening. One of the other ones, so that's step 1 and 2 of the alterations. Step number 3 is mark on your shoulder point. So again, your shoulder point is here. So this is where you want to see whether your shoulder, the actual shoulder point, is on your shoulder. So I kind of changed my mind. In the book, I think I've said to add seam allowance, but the new edit does say you can leave it off. Since teaching, I found it easier to leave the seam allowance off the neckline and to leave it off the armhole because it gives you a better idea of exactly where your shoulder seam will fit and where it will sit on your arm. Because if it's hanging off your arm, then you can actually redraw it to be in a place that suits you. So no seam allowance on there, and then you just redraw. And again, we don't have any strange, like harsh lines on our body. We're all very soft, we're all very curved. So anything you draw on, you just need to graduate it softly so it continues into the armhole round there. Okay, one of the other ones, which baffles a lot of people, is the altering the centre front. So if you have a little bit of gape, again, this is quite a good fit, so it's quite hard to show you this, but if you have gaping on your front, what you need to do is pinch that gape in here and you want to pin it in. Now, I'm going to show you up close on this. I might do this actually in a sec. So, let me show you what I've done. So what I'm doing here is just taking this little bit of gaping off the centre front. So sometimes it's a lot more. Now you'll find that there's no point pinning all the way down, but even if you were to just pin down to about this point, it will just take a lot of this fullness that can sometimes form around here if it's gaping on here. But the important thing is having a pin at the top there. Okay, the next thing in the book is altering the waistline. So what you'll find sometimes, and a massive thing I find with a lot of people, especially when running the workshops, is everyone's perception of where their waist is can be very different to the next person. So some people feel that they have a low waist, some people feel they have a high waist, and sometimes until you make something and put a waist on it, you don't really know what suits you and where your waist is. But just remember, your toile is all about showing where your waist would be, and that's more creating a realistic form for your body. You can move that waist afterwards, so you can lift it and do empire line, you can lose it altogether, you can make a feature of it. So this is mainly to put it where you need it to be that looks comfortable. It doesn't have to stay there forever, but this is always your reference point. So what I did on here, I move her back a little bit. So what I tended to do here is actually I decided the skirt was sitting quite low, and what you do instead, you actually lift up that seam and you just position the actual seam of the skirt higher up, so where you want your waist to be. So you're actually almost tucking in this excess that you don't want, and you're just lifting. So if I pinch where that seam is, you just lift it and position it here. So this is a bit of a fiddly one, but if you don't want to pin it, you could just redraw your waist instead, actually on your toile, if you find that a little bit easier. But just by pinning, sometimes you might only pin a centimetre or just half a centimetre, and it won't seem much, but it will make a big difference. So I'm just going to do it very quickly there so you can see how that works, because I'm mindful I want to show you how to get these details onto your patterns. So this is what I tend to do. Sometimes you'll find that your waist might not need to be taken up the whole way around. It might just be the front. It might just be the back where you have a sway back. So it's the same kind of process where you're just taking out some of the fullness and lifting the skirt to sit a little bit higher up. So that is what we are doing. As I said, hopefully in the new year, I'm looking to do some a lot more videos which will have a lot better lighting, a lot more options for me to film things as well. So watch this space. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as that for a sec. Maybe I'll just take this little bit up here. So again, it's just almost pushing down the fullness that you don't want, and then pinning your seam to just give yourself a better idea of where that will sit. Now, if you have a sway back is when you might have just a lot, so we almost like make it natural. You'll have just a lot of fullness here. So what you're almost doing is you straighten it all out taut, and you're just almost just tucking it away and repositioning your new, like your waistline, where you want it to be, and you've pushed all that fullness in the back, and that will then, you'll see how much you need to actually take out, and it might be a little wedge or a centimetre. But again, I did do a Facebook Live on that as well recently, so that will help. Altering and pinning the opening seam. So where your centre back is, if you've done it on the side, same process, you would actually pin all the way down. If you need to take more in on the centre back, then you can reposition your pins to do that and take that fullness out. So sometimes you want to take the fullness out this way, sometimes you want to take it out that way and actually kind of tuck it away. Some people have a slight curve on the back here, well, a lot of people, because we don't always have a dead straight back. There's not many of us who have a dead straight back. So what you'd actually do is, if you need to take a little bit in on the neck here, this is where you would just literally take it off the centre back. So no need to add a dart or anything here. Other things you might find, if you have your shoulders and you find your shoulder seams are not sitting exactly on your shoulder seam, then it's okay to take a bit off the front and add a bit on the back, or vice versa. So you level those seams out as best you can. So, and also the width of your shoulder, it's all down to you what you want it to look like. So don't worry about shoulders, it's a really easy thing to do. Now, what I can't show you on here, because it fits quite nicely, is the gaping armhole. But again, that is demonstrated on previous YouTube videos and Facebook pages. But if you do have fullness in your armhole, I'm going to force some fullness out of here, then this is where you're actually taking it out of, okay? So the important thing is that you actually pin whatever gaping you have, you pin it at the armhole. And then the rest doesn't matter too much, but that is where you'd actually take your fullness out. So it's that little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this off and I'm going to show you how you transfer those onto your paper patterns. And this is the key thing that I want to get across this evening. So let me just move a few of these away. Just see. If you shorten the shoulder at the armhole, you draw it symmetric on the back. Yes, so anything that you do, always think if you work on the front, you always need to work on the back as well. Now, something that you will need to do, which I've already done on here, is where your pins are, you need to just maybe draw a line where those pins are sitting, because you don't want to take it off and to lose everything. So, for example, on the back here, I don't know if you can see the way I'm doing it. If I just turn it around, no, it's not going to work. It's going to have to be this way because I'm right-handed. But what I'm going to do is just draw with the pen where the pins are. So you just make sure that that is all marked on here, so that when you do take these pins out, you can mark on both sides as well. You've got all your markings that you need on the calico. So that's really important. So I'm going to take this off. And so I would have done that all the way down the back. For now. So take this off. Clear out the way. Now then, this is the fun bit. So this is the bit I think a lot of people struggle with. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on paper. So I'm going to flip to this screen, okay? Sorry about the shadows, but this is something that which is quite good to know, because I'm thinking about how this all works in the big studio going forward. So hopefully there won't be shadows. Okay, we'll start with the shoulders. So what we've done there is I've actually just pinned that fullness out of the shoulder. So if I take those pins out, you will see that there is the red line, which is the row stitching, And then there is a blue line, which is where we want the stitching now to be. That's where we want our new, put it over here, our new row of stitching to be. And this is why in the book, this is what we did. We had a blue line and a red line. So when you get to your patterns, so we're obviously going to start with the shoulder ones. When you have your front one, if your dart is still on your shoulder, which probably is at this stage, unless you're advanced and you have moved it already, but you would close your dart, and all of these things you would do on commercial patterns as well. So this is where the skills that you learn while doing your toile will take you over to commercial patterns as well, and understand how to fit those better. So bearing in mind you have your shoulders there, you've got your front shoulder and you've got your back shoulder. So whatever you do to the front, you also need to do to the back. So when you position, I think I added seam allowance onto this initially. So this is why this is quite a lot wider. So this would have had your seam allowance either side there, which I forgot because that was 4 years ago. But what we're actually doing, same thing on this side, I'll take these pins out. Check that you've actually got a similar measurement on both sides of your shoulder, and so if one is considerably more, then you need to consider what you take off there. And then when you position this down, what you are trying to do, I'm just going to get a different colour pen. That one doesn't work very well. So what you are trying to do, let me see if I can just zoom in a little bit on here maybe. I'm going to move all this up. So the actual blue line here, this is my seam allowance that was drawn onto the patterns. And when I stitched it, it was this row of stitching, which I did in bright red just so you could see. But if you think I want to take out some fullness, so actually where I've pinned, that's where I want the new row of stitching to be. So what you can do is actually transfer that blue line onto here in some way. So I'm going a bit back to front with the colours for a minute, but I'm sure you'll understand. So it's up to you whether you position this on top. So again, remember there was a seam allowance either side. But you can just position it exactly on top and then just get those markings from underneath drawn onto your pattern. So that's what you're trying to do. You're actually trying to make sure that you can see what that line is on here. So now I'm going to get my pattern master. And if you think your shoulder is usually a straight line, so you wouldn't have any odd lumps or bumps in your shoulder. So what I'm then going to do is just to draw a nice continuous straight line there. And if you think now that is your new stitch line, okay, so then you need to add seam allowance onto that stitch line. So we then, using the pattern master or however you choose to do that, we would actually then draw in your seam allowance. And then the bit that you want to cut away is this bit on the outside here. And you would cut that when your dart is closed. I would actually just slice across that and get rid of that. So then you have your 1 centimetre seam allowance there. Okay, so let me just make sure I've got it in the right place. There. It's so difficult to get this all right. So what you can see now is the row of stitching. That was the original row of stitching. That is the new row of stitching. No, sorry, totally confused that, sorry. That blue line originally was the stitching line and that was the seam allowance. We wanted to move that blue line a little bit further down, so it took a bit out. So that is the new line there with seam allowance drawn against it, and then you just cut off this excess. But you need to do exactly the same on your back as well. So rather than going back to the sample, you could just actually position this on and you can place these together and you can actually redraw those lines on and do pretty much the same thing. So we make sure we get that new stitch line drawn on. We do a seam allowance and then you cut off what you don't want, which is that. So personally, what I tend to do in the workshops is I also do a checklist. So I don't cut anything off until I've done that. And I might consider putting that as a PDF that you could all have a copy of maybe, and I can work that out. So it would help you then tick things off and know what you've done. Because what you don't want to do is start chopping bits off and going back going, I can't remember what I did. Did I take seam allowance off that? Did I not? So at least by doing this part, you can actually see what you've done. Now I'm going to zoom back out for this now. Not quite as much as that, but once you've done your shoulders, we would then just happily chop off what you don't want. I might leave them there actually, but if you imagine what I've scribbled there is red, we chop that off. Now, the side seam is, you can see that the side seam on here is obviously joined. So what we will do, I'm just going to show you on the front of this what we will do. Back away for a sec. So I'm undoing up here. Hopefully you can see that. So what I would do at this stage is actually join your pattern pieces as well. So I would actually put them, bearing in mind then obviously those are your seam allowances. So you want your actual stitch line to sit on top of the one underneath. Now this is when you can check, are your darts in the right place? Because you'll soon see if they're not. Well, you would have by this point because you would have made your sample up. But this is a good way of checking your darts anyway, doing this, to see that they are all lined up. Now again, if you think that we tend to be, whatever shape or size we are, we don't have any pointy bits. Okay, so bear that in mind. So what you can do, you've got a couple of things here. I mean, you can place this on top. Now again, this is where I previously drawn on in the book. I'll take those out so you can see. Move those away. So can you see there is I have actually got a line that's just showing like my new stitch line there. So what I would do, again, I would place this exactly onto your seam. And if your paper is clear enough, you can then actually go through and you can just mark your new stitch line, which is where that is. You can pin it on, do whatever you need to do, but the more accurate you can be at this stage, the better. If you prefer to measure and just do some little pointers and go back to your tape measure, then you can. But that's what I'm actually doing. I'm actually tracing that line. So hopefully you can see that again. I might just zoom in if I can. So you can see that that is the initial row of stitching. That blue line is what I wanted it to be, where I'm actually going to take it in. And then I've just copied that onto the pattern piece here. So what you need to bear in mind is when you do this as well, is because I flipped it on the other side, the actual seam allowance is actually, move it up again, I'll zoom out a little bit. So I've drawn in where I want the new line to be, and then we need to add seam allowance onto that as well. So this is where, again, your pattern master comes into play. And you'll see how this looks now. Okay, so it might be a really tiny amount, and this is what you need to bear in mind, is that sometimes the alteration, it doesn't have to be a lot. And someone did actually ask the question saying they're on their 6th toile, and is that potentially, are they overthinking it? And yes, possibly you are, but it might be worth just having someone to have fresh eyes on it, because it is difficult. And I think if you walk into a shop and you try a dress on, you tend to go, that will do. But when you're making something to fit you, you tend to be a lot more critical. So that now you can see, because I've scribbled, it looks a bit messy there, but you'll see, again, if I zoom in a little bit there, so you can see that that's the new row of stitching that will be on your pattern, and that's at the edge of the seam allowance. You'd actually cut off this section down here, and that's how you then alter the side seams. Bear in mind as well, I don't want to end this, I'm just going to do that. Bearing in mind that when you go down to your hips, you want that to graduate into the line. You don't want anything to be a strange shape. So you want that, whatever you're cutting off there, to graduate down and just join naturally, is the best way to put it, not at a strange angle. It needs to blend really nicely. Okay, the one I have shown before now is the centre front one, which is easy peasy. So again, you can watch this back on a video as well in the past. This is where, if you have that little centre front bit that I was saying there, that you've actually got a little bit of gaping in the centre front. So when I actually have that open like that, you just want to lose that little bit. But because you're working on half, you just place this onto your paper half. You mark how much you want to take off. It's super duper simple. You take that, make sure it's all in camera there, and you actually take that all the way down to nothing to your seam allowance there. And that means then that you cut away all of this. So this is one of the videos, so that's been done quite a few times. That'll help you on there. Okay, so that's when you've read other alterations. And then again, if on the back that you have a curve and say you're not dead straight, then again it's just a case of taking that stitch line and just maybe curving it in. So it is okay to have a curve, and again, always add your seam allowance onto it then as well. So anything you need to take off the back, same principle, join the waist seam so you do it all in a nice continuous smooth line. And whatever you do to the front, like what we've done on here, you also need to do on the backs as well. So you just need to remember that every alteration you do on the side seams, you do on both sides, front and back, top and bottom, etc. And the last one to show you is the waist one. So again, let's zoom out of that a little bit. Okay, so you have what I had done on the actual toile was to just raise this line up, and then what I tend to do is wherever I've positioned the new waistline, I tend to draw a line so that when I unpin all of this, I can see what I've actually got rid of, because that's what you're doing. You just want to lift this waistline to sit a little bit higher. So if you think, you don't actually alter the skirt pattern, so nothing changes with the skirt, because what you're doing is getting the waist in the correct position. So the skirt pattern stays exactly the same, and instead what you're taking out is out of here. Now on this one, I took it down to not much at the waist, it was mainly on the front. In the book, this is probably my one error in the book. I think it was day 5 of photographs. And you still can, but you can actually just chop it off the bottom if you want. So you could actually look on here, and you could again close your dart if you want. But you're actually looking at how much you want to take off here. And I think what I tend to do, just very quickly at the end of this session, what I've tended to do in my sessions is work out like an average. So what it tends to be on most people, on the front, it tends to be pretty much the same. But I'm going to show you what this would be if this is your, say, front or back. So say, get an average, because it's not always the same that you're lifting up here. So say this was like 2 there, and it's 1.5 there. And for example, it would say maybe like 1.5. Then you can actually just take a wedge out of this. So I'm going to just draw on here, so kind of like 1.5 there, and it goes down to 1 centimetre on that side. So the worry is, if you actually chop it off the bottom, then your darts may not match the skirt. So that's what I didn't really think about whilst I was rushing this on photo shoot day. But instead, if you know you want to take out, same on the front and the back, exactly the same process. 1.5 on one side, graduating down to 1 on the side. Then you would just, on pages, I'll show you, so you kind of go back to the basics of, where are we? So if you are adding length to your pattern, so on page 52 and 53, if you are tall, it shows you how to add in, but this is one, if you are petite, it shows you how to take out. So this is exactly the same process. So it means you don't affect your darts. So you can draw a line across, and then if you think you want to take 1.5 out of this side, but you only want to take 1 out of that side, or whether it's exactly equal or it just goes down to nothing. But what you do is you just draw 2 lines. That is 1.5. That is 1 centimetre. Bearing in mind you'd have to do the same here as well. So you'd have to make sure you take 1 centimetre out of here. And this is where you tend to take more out of the back. So if it's a sway back, you'll take less out here and you'll tend to take a bit more of a wedge there. So for example, say on the back, we were going to take out, I'm going to do a slight angle, and take quite a bit out. We still would need to make sure we take a matching 1 centimetre out of the side, here and here. And then you could, whatever that depth is you need to take out, then you can actually just draw that. So it can be anything. It can be exactly the same in the front and more out on the centre back. But whatever you do, as long as it matches on the side, and then you just fold those lines to meet each other. So you fold the lower line and you place that on top of the second one. So you don't do the whole thing up because otherwise you're taking too much, but you actually join those lines. And what that does then is that takes out of your pattern without affecting your darts. So you would just redraw the legs of the dart from the point to the base, just to level them up. And at any point you've got a bit of a strange angle on the side, for example, then you would just even it out, because again, you don't want any strange kinks in your side seams. So if you imagine, that's just a case of redrawing there to there. So you don't change the actual size of the dart and you don't change the position of the dart, so you can still match this up with your skirt, which is really important. So that's that one. Exactly the same here. It's 1 centimetre there. So this is your sway back, which isn't mentioned in the book. There was a point where I had to kind of stop really, because it was already meant to be the very easy guide, and then the very bit was dropped. So I still had to keep it easy. Okay, so there's obviously a lot of things you can still do. But this is everything that will start you off basically. Now sometimes it can look a little bit of a strange angle on your darts, but as long as you just redraw that dart there and you redraw this dart, what you may find is that when you actually close that dart, just check it, it still works for when you close your dart, and you still get a nice neat finish there. You may just want to realign that bit. But that is how you take out of the waist. If you need to lift or lower the waist, you could straighten these back out. See, there's a little bit of a kink there. You can just maybe shave that down so it's straight, add into that little bit. But that is how you take out of the waist without actually taking off the bottom. So that is lifting your waist, that is taking a fullness out of your centre back, etc, etc. So, gosh, it's already 8 minutes past, right. So I'm hoping, really hoping that that has made some sense. So Belinda, oh, Belinda's amazing. Belinda's awesome. Belinda's going to have a beautiful finished dress this week. This week is finishing all of my local courses, finishing their dresses. So there'll be lots of lovely photos, hopefully. But I know, I'm just going to look at some of the comments here. And for the centre front, does that alter the straight grain? You redraw the straight grain. So when you do this alteration, I'll go back to you, when you do this alteration, you basically cut that off now. You've got a dead straight line, and that now is your centre front line. So again, there's lots of videos you can watch on that in the past as well. If you've missed the videos, back to me. If you've missed them, you can go back and I will post these onto the page. They're on All Sewn Up under videos, All Sewn Up Wales. They're also on YouTube, All Sewn Up Wales, and I'll post them under featured within the group. So I'm hoping you've all found that useful, because it is the tricky bit. It is easy to pin, but it's hard to actually put that onto your patterns. You don't need to unpick your toile. You can re-sew it if you want. My main advice would be, when you alter your toile and you alter your pattern pieces, make up a brand new toile that fits you perfectly, and then you can actually put that in with your finished pieces. And every time you make a new dress, if you want to look at a new neckline, you can just put that new toile on and you can see all your reference points and know that's where it is in accordance to your pattern. So it's a really useful thing to do. So make that time. So I'm hoping when you were shortening the waist, I was thinking what you're doing all makes sense. Yeah, I know it's late and I am very tired, but hopefully that does make sense. It's just removing fullness, and you can do that anywhere in any part of your garment by removing fullness, by folding it away, but it must be straight lines, because otherwise you're going to give yourself a dart and you make it 3D, if that makes sense. So straight lines, parallel or off, but always dead straight. So I hope that makes sense. I am going to make myself a very big cup of tea, and I'm going to have a cup of tea and a lovely biscuit and have a sit down, and hopefully if any of you are waiting for emails from me or orders, I will get onto those tomorrow. But it is a really busy week this week. The last thing, if you're in Swansea, I'm in the Dylan Thomas Centre where I held my book launch back in June for a lovely little like Christmas fair. So I'll have the book and lots of lovely craft kits as well. Something I need to do this week as well is a massive thank you, because you may have noticed we've reached 10k in the Facebook group. It's 10.8k now, but I am actually going to do a 10% discount kind of on the shop itself. So any craft kits you want for Christmas, I've got some really fabulous kits from people or designers from all around the UK as well. Just again, independents like myself who do everything from crochet, cross stitch, weaving, everything. And it's a lot of the stuff I did during the pandemic to kind of keep the business going and float, and ran workshops for wellbeing. So there's some really lovely kits. So I will probably share a whole load of links with you all tomorrow, and hopefully get that discount code on the website so that you can all have a little look and maybe buy some little gifts for Christmas. So yes, that's it. So I will hopefully have a little look through some of your comments. But I am also quite shattered now, so I'm going to go and have a very large cup of tea and possibly a glass of wine after that if I'm still awake. But thank you very much for watching. There is still a lot more to come. The online side is still bubbling, but I have time to think as of next week. So watch this space for all of those finishing their garments this week, and keep me posted. Keep helping each other on the Facebook group. You are all making my life a lot easier by being so supportive, and just genuinely the most supportive, positive group I've ever seen on Facebook. So thank you all for doing what you're doing. It's amazing. You're all amazing. Keep sewing, keep inspiring each other, and you're also inspiring me, because I'm desperate to start making some new stuff for me to show you what you can do. And yeah, lots of exciting stuff to come. Oh, and last thing, I'm going to finish on a high. Those of you that saw my post last week saying that I did have a little breakaway with my family and I was in a hot tub with red wine, I will be talking to Search Press next week about trouser book. So watch this space, and advanced books as well. So there's a lot to think about. So it's not a no, going to talk about it. So watch this space. So I'm going to leave you on that high before you all get too carried away with the thought of trousers. Bear in mind this one took me 4 years to write, but there was a baby and a pandemic in that, so hopefully the next one will be a bit quicker. So watch this space. How excited! Thank you for watching. So thank you ever so much, everybody. I really appreciate all your support, as per always. As I said, I've got books in stock, so please buy them from me if you want. You get a signed copy, you get your free booklet printed by Search Press, and it's just lovely to support the author, which is awesome. So thank you ever so much. Take care, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed, and I've got to find the end button again, which I can never find. Take care. Have a good evening. Thanks for watching. Bye.